Hey, somebody, David L. donated $50. Said, I want Matt to tell me in detail about the loans he got from Pinnacle Bank.
Pinnacle Bank?
$50.
Pinnacle Bank.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy.
He said
This guy
details.
this guy knows something.
He said details.
Oh, shit.
So,
I've never heard you talk about
Pinnacle Bank? Oh, listen.
Yeah, I don't
bro.
remember hearing about
We
that.
How does this guy know about this?
So much fraud through Pinnacle Bank, and specifically,
He wants details.
Amy Early.
Early
was the account executive.
Oh,
Now
shit.
married, going by a different name, but she is following me on Facebook. So I see her every once in a while. I see her.
So she sees your stuff?
She sees my stuff.
You think it's her?
Oh, I know it's her.
Oh,
I'm positive
shit.
it's her. But yeah, she. We did a ton of fraud on Pinnacle Bank.
Oh,
we had
How much fraud? Like, what do you think? $1 million, $2 million, $3 million?
no, 10
million?
15 million in fraud in just Pinnacle
That's
Bank.
what I'm talking about.
Pinnacle Bank. It was Pinnacle Bank Corp, and it was owned
Shout out
by
to Pinnacle.
It was owned by a guy named Gary Vaughn. I remember it because it was very close
Sounds
to
like
Bond. Vaughn. And I used to joke all the time, Vaughn. Gary Vaughn. Yeah, man, listen, they caught us on over and over again committing fraud too.
Really?
Like, left and right. Gary caught us one time. One time we got caught with several $1 million, and they'd already sold a few $1 million to Household Bank. And then they caught us with like $1 million in fraud, and they sold it. They knew it was fraud, and they sold it to Household Bank again. Another one.
What?
I mean, that was like the industry. They called up. He was a little threatening when he realized that I was like, look, I can't cut you a check for the money for what you caught. So I don't know if you're expecting I'm going to cut you a check for like $1 million. You're wrong. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, but we're going to go ahead and put this in a package that we're selling. So if it comes back on us, though, you have to agree you'll help me get rid of any loans that come back on us. Of course.
Sure.
What am I going to say?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, no,
I
you're a
can't do
hit.
that.
Call the FBI. Fuck you. Yeah, of course Of course, Gary, you can rely on me.
Of course, I'm trustworthy.
And Amy would always run interference. She'd call you up and be like, listen, this is what they just found out. This is what they know. I don't know what you're going to say, but this is what they know. And I'd be like, okay. And then the phone would ring, like 5 minutes later, the phone would ring. Boom. I'd be like, yeah, what's it? And I'd already have a story completely ready. What? Oh, absolutely. Like, if I didn't know beforehand, you don't know what to say.
You're fucked. Yeah,
You're
you
fucked.
had to drop. They asked, did she go to prison too?
Amy?
Yeah.
No. She got enough. When Pinnacle eventually went under, I like to think by no fault of mine. I don't know that's true, though.
I'm sure you were a part of that.
When they eventually went under, she just got a job working for Citibank.
Okay, yeah.
Citigroup, Citibank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Reputable bank.
And she went to work for them. God, there was a chick that worked there named Nash. What was her name? We all went to dinner a few times. Anyway, yeah. But in detail, my God, bro, we had canceled checks. We had fake pay stubs, I mean, there was so much fraud that we put through. And we knew all the underwriters. They would come down. They'd take us to, after Gary caught us with a couple $1 million in fraud, a week later he flew down and took me and 3 of the brokers out to dinner.
And said what?
He actually said during that meeting, he got drunk, and he actually said, I was just thinking about something I can't even say.
Say it.
No, I can't say it. It's not Amy. Anyway, because I always liked Amy. I always kind of had a crush on Amy.
You did?
Yeah.
Maybe she's available now.
No,
Yeah.
she's not.
She's not? Okay.
She's married. So Gary got drunk, and I remember Gary, we were talking about fraud, and Gary said, to be honest, he goes, I don't care how much fraud goes through that company. He goes, as long as it doesn't come back on us. He goes, as long as it goes through our underwriting department and they don't catch it, he goes, and it doesn't come back on us. He goes, if it does go into foreclosure, he goes, I don't care how much fraud goes through that place. He goes, we know fraud's going through the place. He told me one time he caught a guy with fraud. He caught a guy with like a $250,000 fraud. Like literally they'd funded the loan, and like when they went to go sell it to their secondary investor, the secondary investor caught it was fraud. Like, and it was blatant. It was like W-2s, pay stubs, like the phone number that verified that verified the guy's employment, like literally like went to the owner of the company. I mean, so he called him up. He's like, oh, I had him. He was done. I told him I was going to call the FBI, this and that. Gary said, look, we have to pay X amount of dollars to maintain that loan until we can sell it. Now you're saying, now we can't sell it, so it's stuck on our books, and we have to pay a fee the longer it stays on there. Here's what the fee is. So he said he came up with some ridiculous fucking like $5,000 or $6,000 a month. He goes, this guy had paid this like $5,000 a month for like 4 or 5 months, and really the money was just going into Gary's just taking $5 grand, $5 grand. And he said, I don't care if he pays that fee forever. And he said eventually, he said the guy was paying it till eventually the guy they sold the house or refinanced the house. And he said, oh, he's up to like $25,000 at this point. He was laughing about it. I mean, he was drunk, and we were like, I was thinking, this guy is
fucked.
Vicious. I was like, wow.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Extorting. Oh, I mean, his company went under.
Yeah.
I'm sure he turned around and opened up another company.
What was his name?
Gary Vaughn.
Gary Vaughn.
Gary Vaughn.
Somebody in the chat, find out where the fuck Gary Vaughn is.
Yeah, for real. We need him on the podcast.
We need him on the fucking podcast.
I'll bet he's got some stories.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Vaughn is now the CEO of Citibank.
Where the hell is Gary Vaughn?
Somebody find Gary Vaughn for us. Didn't you just do some fucking commercial for some home security company?
Yeah, right.
So a home security company hired you and flew you out to Oklahoma, right?
Well, it's called Home Title Lock. So it's like LifeLock, but for your home. So it protects people against the crimes that I actually committed. I actually met Newt Gingrich.
What?
Yeah, Newt Gingrich, right? Like Newt Gingrich was like 100 years old when I was young. Oh, and so when they told me Newt Gingrich is going to be interviewing you, I went, he's still alive? And they were like, he's 77, but yeah, he's actually he's doing good. He's doing well. I was like, that's nuts.
Wow. What was that like?
It was fine. He was, nice guy. There were 2 FBI agents there. It's nice to talk to an FBI agent when they're not looking for you. So, I met a bunch of people. It was like a huge production. They flew me in. I stayed 2 nights. I only worked 1 day. So, it was cool. It was in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, which is really a nice city. Like, I really felt like Oklahoma City was like going to be like scummy. Bro, everywhere I went, nice, clean, everybody's polite.
Well,
it was really very nice. Huh?
I've never been.
I mean, I've been before, but it was when I was flown in by the BOP and Con Air, and they unloaded me into the holdover for 2 weeks and then loaded me back on the plane and flew me out. So I didn't get to see a lot of the city on that trip.
You didn't get to see many sights, huh?
No, I couldn't. Matter of fact, it was freezing cold when they caught me too, so I couldn't. The windows, I remember, were frozen up. So you couldn't even see out the window. It was all white. So I got to see nothing.
That bites.
Yeah.